Welcome to Umbrella Rebellion. I'm Marcy.
And I'm Dee.
We are finding healing after leaving a cult.
We will be discussing abuse and personal experience with the ATI, IBLP, and fundamental churches.
Trigger warning. This podcast may contain descriptions of various forms of abuse. Please take care for your safety and well-being while you are listening.
If the content becomes too much for you to handle, please turn this off. We hope to expose harmful teachings that lead to and justify abuse,
with the hope that those that are experiencing abuse can find support and escape from it.
Well, last video was interesting. If you haven't seen it yet, we learned about ravens and vultures. You might be interested in knowing what Bill Gothard had to say about ravens. Give you a little hint. There was something about eyes in there. If you know, you know. I am Dee from Umbrella Rebellion. The next page is quite quick, and then we're going to get into stuff maybe directed at the fathers, finally. I am Dee, your tour guide into the depths of Bill Gothard's psyche via the men's manual from IBLP. Let's get into it. Next page in the book, title is God's Judgment When Men Fail to be Spiritual Leaders. The child shall behave himself proudly against the ancient and the base against the horrible. Isaiah 3:5. Children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. The oppressors of their mothers. Oh, yeah, I remember that. I love how he gives the whole fucking verse for us to understand the context. Isaiah 3:12. Let's look at this lovely picture. Once I scroll down, pause the video, take a good look at it, and I'd love to know your reaction to this page in the comments. What are your thoughts? I want you to tell me what your thoughts are before I share with you my opinion on it. Well, let's scroll. Wow. Do you see what I see? This is my interpretation of the visual that we are seeing here. It appears we have a woman and or teen. I can't tell if that's a mom or child. I'm guessing a child, maybe older teen, who is wearing a baggy shirt and kind of a pixie mullet. I don't know what you would call that hairstyle. And then you have a black child very prominently in the center, picking his teeth. If you can't see my face, it's the face of, can you be more fucking blatant in your racism? This pisses me off. And then you have what we would assume is a young girl with a braid, her arms folded, and a scowl on her face. Although you can't see much below her waist level, it appears that she may be in jeans, and she's got a little puffy sleeve shirt on, but it looks quite boyish. So if you can't see this picture, I have uploaded the file of the whole introduction in Umbrella Rebellion's Facebook survivors group. If you want to see what I am seeing and you're only listening on the podcast platforms, you can go over to the Facebook group, request to join. Please answer all of the questions because that will automatically get you in if you answer according to my criteria. But anyway, found that quite interesting, the way that these children were portrayed on this page, and the black child being the prominent picture and him picking his teeth. It just screamed blatant racism to me. What are your thoughts on this page, the parts of scripture that were given to us? And the title of the page being, let's remember what the title of the page was God's Judgment When Men Fail to be Spiritual Leaders. And then you have that glorious racist picture. And I say glorious in all forms of mockery and derision. We'd love to know what your thoughts are on this because I'm just kind of taken aback a little. I mean, I shouldn't be. Shouldn't be surprised. I know it's there. When it stares you in the face and you know better, it is so hard not to see it anymore. I was so ignorant to this stuff back then, but it was staring me in the face and I didn't see it. And that pisses me off because I was taught racism without me knowing. And it pisses me off that that was reinforced through this organization. Does it piss you off? Let me know in the comments. Welcome back to Umbrella Rebellion and our trip into the wild, crazy, ridiculous contradictions of Bill Gothard through his men's manual. So last video, we had a very quick review of a page with very interesting illustration. If you haven't seen that video, I highly encourage you to go see it because I think it's very interesting. We will be moving forward in this introduction, and yes, we are still in the introduction, and I think we've been on the introduction for 9, maybe even 10 weeks now. So much not good in this introduction. Let's just jump into it. What's on our next page? What's on the agenda for this video and possibly the next 2 to 4 videos on TikTok or the next 2 on YouTube? What if a father has already failed? Because those fathers, their feelings, they may need to be coddled because they may have failed already. So let's make them feel better. A man who fails is not a failure. Oh my God. Really? How many times does he have to fail for him to be deemed a failure? Oh my God, this just made me think of a few things. There's people currently in positions of authority that have repetitively failed. They still keep getting further and further in authority. How many times did Bill Gothard fail? He still doesn't think he's a failure. Interesting, huh? Have you seen his website? He definitely doesn't think he's a failure. Anyway, moving on. A man who fails and gives up is a failure. Look, you keep trying. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. Then you can't be a failure. As long as you tell people you're trying, you're good to go. A man who fails and gives up is a failure. However, God promises, open quotes, beauty for ashes, close quotes. God allows us to fail when we try to succeed in our own strength. His most powerful illustrations have been in the lives of men who knew their own weakness, but who learned how to draw upon God's strength. Footnote number 2, 2 Corinthians 12:9. And he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. So this is God makes the strengths out of weaknesses justification. You can keep trying, you can fail continuously, but you are not a failure as long as you're trying, because God makes strength out of weakness. Just so you know, that one verse supports that completely. No question. Moving on. Failure leaves quote unquote scars, but these quote unquote scars can be turned into God's glory for sons and daughters. Sometimes I anticipate what is going to be following based on their titles, and it gets my anxiety up. Does it do it for you? Just curious. Disobedience allows results in loss and regret. When the nation of Israel disobeyed God, he scattered the families and destroyed the temple. Later, the people repented and rebuilt the temple, but it was less glorious than the original structure. However, God promised to make it more glorious than the former temple if they would be obedient to him. Footnote number 3, Haggai 2:3-9. Who is left among you that saw this house in their first glory? And how do you see it now? Is it not in your eyes in comparison of it as nothing? Yet now be strong, O Zerubbabel. If I pronounce these names wrong, it's because I'm terrible at pronouncing words I am not familiar with. O Zerubbabel, saith the Lord. Yet now be strong, O Zerubbabel, saith the Lord, and be strong, O Joshua, son of Josedek, the high priest. And be strong, all ye people of the land, saith the Lord, and work, for I am with you, saith the Lord of hosts. According to the word that I covenanted with you when ye came out of Egypt, so my spirit remaineth among you, fear ye not. For thus saith the Lord of hosts, yet once it is a little while, and I will shake the heavens and the earth and the sea and the dry land. And I will shake all nations, and desire of all nations shall come, and I will fill this house with glory, saith the Lord of hosts. The silver is mine, and the gold is mine, saith the Lord of hosts. The glory of this latter house shall be greater than of the former, saith the Lord of hosts. And in this place will I give peace, saith the Lord of hosts. So that's just God's promise to build the temple greater. Because even though something crumbles to the ground and is not great anymore, God can make it great again, right? Let me know what your thoughts are on fathers who fail, and as long as they're trying, they aren't failures. The scars being equated to the temple that God is going, because your body is a temple, I guess, that God is going to make more glorious in the end. So your trauma and drama and scars and pain can then be turned into God's glory, I guess is where we're going with this. And join us in the next video for more on why men aren't what to do if a father is a moron. More on what if a father has already failed. Don't worry, fathers. Bill Gothard has your back. He won't let you feel like a failure. Not even if you failed several times. If you need your ego stroked, go read his book. Don't listen to me, because it ain't gonna happen. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself. Let's continue finding out what Bill Gothard has to say about failures of a father. Failed fathers. Fathers that fail? ish. Let's get into it. So we talked about a man that fails, not a failure, that your scars can be used because of the temple correlation. Now we're going to talk about the dreams of the father, apparently. The dreams of fathers are often fulfilled by their sons and daughters.
Oh my God!
If you are listening on the podcast, my hand is on my forehead and my face is in my palm and my eyes are closed and I'm just, ugh. That would be the sound to correlate with the face. Let's see what he has to say. Children tend to adopt their father's values. If his chief concern is for temporal things, theirs will often be also. However, children may take a different approach to temporal things. If, for example, a father is overly concerned about retirement, his son may be slothful on the basis that if retirement is so important, he will beat his father to it. What the fuck? When sons and daughters adopt their father's God-given goals, the father can provide much needed encouragement, resources, and counsel for these goals. This was illustrated in the building of the temple. David had the vision for it, but his sons built it. No, your children are not an extension of you. They are their own people. They get to live out their dreams according to their beliefs and their goals for life. If you don't talk about freaking retiring, you will work until the day you die and or not be able to support yourself in old age and depend on your children to support you because you couldn't have the wherewithal to be financially independent upon retirement. So this is why a lot of IBLP families were extremely poor and continued to be poor and had no future planning. Thankfully, my father was smart enough not to follow this fucking instructions, and he set himself up to depend on himself and his social security to be able to support himself in retirement, and my mother. I'm very fortunate that my father had the wherewithal to build his future so we are not the ones taking care of them when they are still able-bodied, but they don't want to work anymore, or they've reached the age of retirement. But no, your children are not, you don't get to fulfill your unrealized dreams through your children. That's bullshit. Let me know what your thoughts are about what Gothard says here. Do you agree with me that children get to have their own fucking future and you don't get to fulfill your dreams through them? Please. Love to know what you think. Leave it in the comments. Fathers, you're not failures. If you didn't realize your dreams, you can use your children, according to Bill Gothard and his men's manual from IBLP. Last couple of videos, we talked about what happens if a father is a failure, fails. Let's keep going so we can get to the next page in the introduction because we're still not fucking finished. Apparently, you can fulfill your dreams through your children, according to Bill Gothard, but do not plan to retire because that might make your sons or daughters rush to retirement before you. Because this is a competition? What the fuck? Anyway, moving on. See what the next point is. Can't wait. The sins of fathers are passed on to the third and fourth generation. A father must be a rebuilder. No matter what his past failures may have been, his sins tend to reoccur in the lives of his sons and daughters. The manifestation may differ, but the basic failure will be there. When sons and daughters react to their father, they become just like him, either in action or attitudes or both. What fathers allow in moderation, their sons and daughters tend to excuse in excess, because sons and daughters can't break cycles. Everything is the parents' fault, but it's not the parents' fault. Don't blame your parents because you made your own choices. See how it doesn't matter where you come from with this argument of failure? You could go either way and it's supported by what Bill Gothard teaches. So no matter what happened, you have a scapegoat. You have someone else you can blame. You better not allow your children to blame you because that's them taking up offense. That's them being bitter if they blame you for anything. But it's still your responsibility as a father to rebuild no matter what your past failures were and do better. But if you don't do better, it's your children's fault for rebelling. The children can blame the father for not being a rebuilder, but if they do, they're going to be accused of having bitterness. There's no way to win in this cult as a child or as a parent. I don't know if you've seen that in this so far, but having been in it and knowing more than what we've covered about his teachings, I can guarantee you there is no way for anyone to succeed in this without being accused of doing something wrong to cause your own struggles based on this teaching. based on what Gothard said. All right, let's quickly go through this side column and get this page done with because I am ready to move on. I am getting so tired of this fucking introduction. I don't know about you. King David. So here's the failures that we can go to in scripture so the men can get their ego stroked and they can feel not as bad about being a failure. King David. David failed, but he was not a failure. He had a desire to build a great temple for God, but God would not let him build it because he wasn't a failure. So God wouldn't let him. See how that works? Solomon. David's son Solomon built the temple, but he was greatly assisted by the tremendous provisions and contacts which his father had prepared for him. There you go. Dream through the children. It's justifiably biblical. Solomon's temple. The original temple was a breathtaking sight. However, when the nation sinned, God destroyed the temple. When they repented, God gave them the desire and the power to rebuild the temple, but it was less glorious. That's that whole argument of sin will make you look ugly or whatever, and you'll have scars and whatever, blah, blah, all that bullshit. Do you feel any more enlightened about what happens or why? The whole title of this page is What If a Father Already Failed? And it just says, don't worry, there's failures everywhere. There's men who failed in the Bible. You're really not a failure because God could use them even though they failed. What do you think that sets up? Do you think that sets people up for excusing failures? Do you think that sets up fathers never feeling like they ever failed or are a failure as a father because as long as they're trying, according to Bill Gothard, they're good. If they didn't succeed as much as a parent, don't worry, your kids will fulfill your dreams. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. With that, I will end this episode. If somebody has not told you today or ever, let me be the one to tell you. I am proud of you.